The moment a woman sees you as different, everything changes before she ever says a word. That is why so many men miss it. They keep looking for the obvious signs. More texting, more compliments, more flirting. But that is not always what happens. Sometimes the real sign is not that she does more. It is that she does things differently with you than she does with everyone else. That is the shift. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Because when a woman sees you as different, not just attractive, not just fun, but genuinely different, her behavior gets more real, more careful, more revealing, more emotionally specific. So if she does these things, there is a strong chance she does not see you as just another guy in the rotation. She sees you as someone who stands apart. The first sign is when she drops the polished version of herself faster around you. At first this seems small. Maybe she stops trying to sound perfect. Maybe she admits something awkward. Maybe she lets you see her when she is tired, annoyed, unsure, or not fully put together. Most men misunderstand this. They think if she really likes you, she should always be showing her best side. Not exactly. When a woman sees you as ordinary, she often stays in performance mode. She keeps it safe. She keeps it edited. But when she sees you as different, she starts relaxing the mask. Because something in her feels that you are not just watching her, you are actually seeing her. That matters psychologically because people only stop performing when they feel a rare mix of interest and safety. What should you notice? Notice whether she becomes more real with you than she is with others, not sloppier. More genuine. That is not casual. That is trust beginning to form around your presence. The second sign is when she remembers your standards and adjusts without being asked. This one is powerful because it goes beyond attraction. Maybe you mention one time that you hate flaky behavior. Later, she becomes more direct with plans. Maybe you say you value honesty. Later, she tells you something uncomfortable instead of hiding it. Maybe you once said you like peace, and now she approaches you with less chaos. Most guys think this is just basic compatibility, but it is deeper than that. A woman only starts adapting around your values when your opinion of her actually matters. When she sees you as different, she does not just want your attention. She wants your respect, and there is a huge difference between those two things. Attention can be collected from anybody. Respect feels rare. That is why she becomes more intentional. What should you notice? Notice whether she remembers what matters to you and moves accordingly. Not because you demanded it, because she chose to. That choice says more than any compliment ever could. The third sign is when she asks questions that go past surface level fast. Not the usual, "Where are you from?" stuff. Not the basic "What do you do?" questions. She starts asking how you think. What changed you? What you believe about certain things? What kind of life you actually want? And she listens in a way that feels focused, not polite. Focused. Most people assume curiosity just means attraction, but not all curiosity is equal. There's playful curiosity, and then there is selective curiosity. Selective curiosity happens when someone feels there is something about you they do not want to misread. That is what makes this different. She is not just filling silence. She is studying what makes you, you. Psychologically, that matters because people go deeper when they sense depth. She feels there is more to uncover in you than in the average interaction. What should you notice? Notice if she returns to your answers later. Notice if she asks follow-up questions that connect to something you said before. That is when you know she is not just talking, she is investing attention, and attention is where meaning starts. The fourth sign is when she becomes more careful with how she affects you. This one surprises a lot of men, because they think a woman who sees you as different will act more bold. Sometimes she does, but often she becomes more aware. If she thinks she annoyed you, she checks the energy. If she feels she came off wrong, she explains herself. If she notices you go quiet, she tries to understand why. That is not random, that is emotional caution. And emotional caution only shows up when your reaction carries weight. Most men misunderstand this as overthinking, but overthinking around one person usually means that person matters more. If she saw you as just another option, she would not care enough to manage the impact. What should you notice? Notice whether she tries to clear up tension with you faster than she does with others. Notice whether she cares about being misunderstood by you. That is one of the cleanest signs that your position in her mind is different. The fifth sign is when she breaks her own pattern for you. This is where things get very real. Maybe she usually takes forever to reply, but with you, she suddenly does not. Maybe she normally avoids phone calls, but with you, she stays on longer than expected. Maybe she is usually guarded. But with you, she volunteers personal information. The important part is not the action by itself, it is the exception. People live by patterns, and patterns reveal comfort, interest, and emotional hierarchy. When a woman sees you as different, you stop getting the same treatment she gives everybody else. She bends her usual rhythm, not because you forced it, because something about you pulls a different version out of her. That matters psychologically, because exceptions are one of the strongest signals of special perception. Anybody can follow routine. Breaking routine is where the truth leaks out. What should you notice? Notice the gap between what she says she is like and how she actually is with you. If you are getting exception behavior, you are not in the normal category. The sixth sign is when your approval hits her differently than other people's approval. This one is subtle, but once you catch it, it is impossible to miss. You compliment her, and instead of brushing it off like she usually does, she actually feels it. You notice she looks at your reaction when she says something, or when she posts something, or when she walks into a room. She may not ask directly, but she checks. She wants to know how it lands with you. Now, most men think this just means she likes validation. No, that is too shallow. Lots of people enjoy validation, but when a woman sees you as different, your validation becomes specific. It means more because it comes from someone she has placed higher in mental value. That is why your praise can affect her more, and your disappointment can affect her more too. What should you notice? Notice whether your opinion seems to carry disproportionate weight, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet way. A pause, a glance, a shift in tone. Those tiny reactions usually reveal the truth better than words do. The seventh sign is when she starts bringing you into parts of her life she does not casually open. This is bigger than just texting more. She mentions you to people. She asks what you think before making a choice. She shares stories that show you where she comes from. She lets you see the context around her, not just the highlights. This matters because when someone sees you as ordinary, they keep you in the entertainment zone. You get conversation, maybe attention, maybe chemistry, but not real access. When she sees you as different, she starts making room for you in the deeper structure of her life. That means your presence is no longer isolated. It is becoming integrated, and integration is never random. It happens when someone senses long-term emotional significance. What should you notice? Notice whether you are only part of her moments, or whether you are starting to become part of her world. Those are two very different things, and here's the part most men get wrong. A woman seeing you as different does not always look loud. It does not always come with a confession. It does not always come with obvious romantic lines. Sometimes it shows up in restraint, in thoughtfulness, in exceptions, in the way she handles your presence with a little more care than she handles everyone else. Because different people create different behavior, that is the whole point. And when you are truly different to her, she stops treating you like a generic interaction. She starts responding to you like you have weight. So if she does these things, do not just ask whether she likes you. That question is too small. Ask something more accurate. Does she move differently around me than she moves around everyone else? Because that is where the real answer lives. Not in one text, not in one compliment, not in one intense moment, in the pattern, in the exceptions, in the emotional detail. That is how you know. She drops the mask. She adjusts to your standards. She wants to understand your mind. She becomes careful with your perception. She breaks her own pattern. She values your approval differently. And she starts making space for you in the deeper parts of her life. That is not normal interest. That is a woman quietly telling you that you are not in the same category as the rest. And once you recognize that, you stop chasing cheap signs. You stop overanalyzing every little word. You start reading behavior at the level that actually matters. If you want more of these hidden signals broken down clearly, stay close. Because the biggest shifts are usually not announced, they are revealed in how people treat you when they think you are different.